Hey gang, Akil here. Welcome back to another episode of the Trading Coach Podcast, the number 5 ranked must listen to Forex trading podcast out there. Thank you guys so much for allowing us to achieve that goal. Not goal, I didn't even know it was happening, but we did it, so thank you. And hopefully if you guys continue to share the show, if you guys continue to support like I know you will, we can claim that number 1 spot by next year. Now, in today's episode, I'm going to share with you one of our recent accountability sessions. And for you guys that are new, what our accountability sessions are they're really a sit down with the traders on our platform. It's a chance for us to really ask them questions about their trading journey, how they got started. And for them, it's really an opportunity to put themselves out there to kind of, get through that icebreaker of just being a name on the chat, but really allow the community members to know their story personally and put their goals out there. That way they can be held accountable, right? There's nothing more powerful than external accountability and external motivation by your peers. And in fact, this was this kind of community building technique that we've done this year with Tier 1 trading. This is what got us recognized by Forbes magazine as being innovators in the trading education field. It's pretty cool. Now, I think you guys will like this episode because this trader, he was brand spanking new to trading, which I know many of you guys are, and that's why I called it baptism by fire. He starts off by telling a story about how he signed up for this trading event where he tried to learn everything in like a few days, and his brain literally exploded, and he had to kind of go back to the drawing board. And it was just a cool story about how he persevered, how he got on the right track. And he even shared an awesome quote that I remember was saying that you can't learn to drive by reading a textbook. You have to go and do it. And that's kind of the motivation that he uses within himself to kind of say, hey, I can't just kind of, dance around this. I've got to commit. I've got to do it. I've got to jump in. I've got to get my feet wet if I ever want to be successful. So it's a pretty cool interview. Now, make sure you listen to the very end, because at the very end, my partner, Jason Greystone, gives some fantastic advice about a cool tactic you can use at the end of the year just to continue your self-development and to get you mentally prepped for the year to come. So make sure you listen to the very end. And of course, share the show on social media, the Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I'm on all of those platforms. Share it, tag me in it. I'll give you some love. And if you're interested in learning how to trade, make sure you sign up for our 14-day trial over at tier1trading.com. Introduce yourself to our community, take advantage of our courses, our software, our live rooms, our daily videos, and sign up for an accountability session of your own.
You're welcome.
I know I'm meeting you in a week's time and you're going to tell me all about it, but just for anyone that isn't coming, just tell us a bit about Andrew Curry.
Right. Well, I started trading. I started learning about trading exactly 1 year ago this week, because I was listener to the Jason Stapleton program, and Jason Stapleton announced he was going to do a what did he call it? Trading mastery, 1 week intensive, everything I know about trading. Here we go for one affordable course across 1 week. And I was one of those people who was like, okay, what's a pip? What's this? I knew nothing when I started, absolutely nothing. And it was a baptism of fire. It was, by the second day, I was just lost. I was just barely keeping my head above water, and so I was in this position of being given an intensive 5-day, something like 15-hour course on trading, and I was like, oh, okay, I've got to start unpacking this, watching a little bit at a time here and there, and then month after that, so very beginning of January, I'd signed up to TradingView, and somebody in the TradingView chat said, "Oh, have you heard Akil Stokes and Jason Greystone? They're going off on their own. They're not trading powered anymore." And he just said, "Yeah, look, I'll get you this link." And it was just a little landing page saying, "Put your email address in," and I did. And then what was it, middle of January, got an email back saying, "Okay, we're doing the emergence course." I thought, okay, another one of these courses. Here we go, and signed up on, I think it was either the Wednesday or the Thursday when Darren came on and said, "This is what we're doing for one price. We give you everything," and so on and so on. And so I joined more or less completely new to trading when you launched.
Wow.
And I remember I set myself a target of, okay, let's see what I can achieve by December, just meaning, after a year of trying this. And here we are about to hit December, and I've been working on backtesting, mostly trend continuation. And I'm now at a point where I've got trend continuation ready on 3 pairs, and I'm trying to, in effect, forward test now, just in a demo account, just to get used to the actual fine details of, placing a trade when it comes up.
Yep.
Ready to go live shortly with that.
Amazing.
So I haven't quite hit the, I'll be a consistently profitable trader by December, but I'm more or less on target.
That's really good, mate.
At least that's the plan. I mean, I could like everyone go into a major drawdown as soon as I start. I don't know yet.
You're probably going to have some problems when you go live. I'm not going to lie, like everyone does. It is different, no matter what, no matter how much you think you're prepared. Trading live money is different to demo, and there's going to be new challenges that you face when you go live. So it's important that everyone understands that, everyone's prepared for that, because that just is how it is.
I remember a comment you made in the live room once when you went live. Wasn't it something like the first 5 weeks you had less in your account than you started with?
Correct.
And you said that was quite difficult. And I can imagine, I mean, if you've been doing it 7 years and that's the 20th time that's happened, you just think, okay, it's one of them things. I'll just wait for the winners. But when it happens at the beginning, I would imagine you think, oh, right, okay. Have I done something wrong? You doubt yourself, probably.
Of course you doubt yourself. And not only it's at the beginning, it's real money. And also, one thing we never know is the system going to work forever? Like, we never know that. That's one thing we never know. So we have to prepare as mentally as we can for that. And the only way we can do that is to backtest and demo trade and go about the process the right way. You still with us, Andrew? I think you.
I mean, you're always saying you're trading as a business. I mean, I can remember. I mean, up here in Newcastle, I don't know if you've heard of Sir John Hall.
Yeah, I have heard of St John Hall. Yeah.
I mean, Sir John Hall, amongst many things, was one of the architects. Sorry, not architects, one of the businessmen behind the Metro Centre up here, which is only about 5 or 6 minutes drive from me, which is the largest shopping centre in Europe.
Yep.
And I remember seeing on the television, a few years ago, something like the 30th anniversary of it opening or something like that. And they were interviewing Sir John Hall, and he just said, we were doing this and we're doing that, and we're trying to get Marks and Spencer's involved and all these retailers, But he just said, but at the end of the day, I made a decision, and I had to just go with it. It's like that in business. So imagine in trading, there's going to be an element here of, okay, I've done everything I can to this point. I'm confident it's going to go okay, but you just have to take the plunge.
Totally.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, completely.
Yeah, 100%. You have to just make a decision as a business and just sort of say, right, I'm going for it.
Totally.
So
totally.
It's nice to hear you say, yep, I agree with that.
I do. And just going back to your thing of trading being a business, I mean, you could even relate it to most businesses. There is a J curve. There's a learning curve. I think the problem with traders is they never finish that learning curve. They never finish the J curve and start focusing on their system and trading their system. They jump from one system to the next, and they just end up blowing more money, more time, more effort, and actually not getting to where they want to go. You must treat it as a business.
It's been interesting. I mean, one of the things I've realised from a lot of the accountability sessions and just speaking to people generally, whether it's in the platform or the trading view chat's quite interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, I was warned by Jason Stapleton right on that very first course, to be careful of trading forums. Often it's the blind leading the blind.
Yep.
But what I mean, I'm in a fortunate position in that, I mean, most people come on here and say, oh, well, I started doing this, but then I blew an account.
Yep.
And I thought, okay, I've got to learn a bit more. And I thought I'd learned a bit more, but then I blew another account and so on and so on. And, I haven't had that. So far, I learned from, courses and then from tier 1. And I haven't actually gone live with anybody. At the moment, I've lost nothing financially apart from whatever the tier 1 subscriptions cost since January, and £99 for a year's subscription to TradingView.
Yeah,
and that's it.
But that's not a loss, is it? That is a
no. That's an expense. No,
yeah, it's an expense.
Yeah,
absolutely.
A negative one way or another.
Yeah, it's a business expense.
Yeah, it's an expense. Then, so who knows how it's going to go? I may go live and then that's it. Go straight into drawdown. What has been interesting, you said on the backtesting video early on, you recommend at least 100 trades or 5 years worth of data.
Yep.
So taking that literally, I started with everything at 2013 through to 2017. There's 5 years, and then I said, when I went live, whenever that would be, I would bring it up to date. So really, I've got just under 6 years worth. So wow. I think it was September where I said, okay, I'm going to go and bring this up to date. And of course, what happened? You're going through the early months of 2018, looking, thinking, okay, I'm getting a lot of winners here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what's coming next? And Akil always says the market's job is to cause as much pain to as many traders as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he was in chat actually at the time I was doing it. I remember posting saying, yep, what have I found early on? Ridiculous amount of winners. It's like the markets just know that there's someone coming along shortly, and and
they want to get your hopes up.
They're just thinking, yeah, okay, we'll teach him a lesson here, haha. So yeah, so I've actually started forward testing, going live in a demo account to get used to the practicalities of actually having to check on the hour and enter trades. And I've gone straight into a drop down, which the negative side of that is, of course, you're not really getting the reassurance that I've done something right yet. But then the other side is, but this is perfect because it means I'm more likely to go into winning trades when I eventually go live.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Yeah.
Totally. Yeah.
So I might be lucky enough that I'm avoiding the drawdown by getting it out of the way now.
Yeah.
Who knows? The markets are probably listening to me right now and saying, "I don't think so."
By the way, just on that subject, I think traders need to appreciate that you spend more time in a drawdown than you do not in a drawdown. So what I mean by that is when you hit those new equity highs in your account, you're going to move sideways after that, and you might take a dip, you might move sideways a bit more, and then it's only when you hit that new equity high that you're out of the drawdown. Now that doesn't happen that frequently. It's very, very slow and steady. So you're either moving sideways or you're going up, but you're moving sideways a lot more than you're going up. It's just you want a slow, steady, incremental equity curve, which means that you're going to be in a drawdown more often than you're not. So you need to expect that and appreciate that as well.
Yeah, I was just rewatching earlier this week the Adam Graham's interview, and he said exactly that. As a trader, you will probably spend most, if not all, your time in drawdown because you're always down from that equity high.
Yeah, exactly. You hit a winner.
Yeah.
You come into a new equity high, and then from that point on, until you put in the new equity high, you're in a drawdown.
Yeah.
Totally. So,
and you were saying that to a trader this week, or was it last week in the live room, who was saying, "I want to,
Yes. Yeah.
For a big winner." Yeah, okay, you get that, but then what? You can only have a drawdown eventually after that.
Exactly. So what are you you're testing at the moment, are you?
I've gone through Greystone trend continuation. I have that
Yep.
now finished and finalized on 3 pairs. I've got the
Okay.
Euro USD, the New Zealand dollar US dollar, and the British pound Aussie dollar.
And you
I'm just
built
taking
all
that
of your
for
own.
now.
You built all of your own rules on the spreadsheet and everything for that, or different filters.
I mean, at first, because I mean, I was completely new to this. You don't know if what you're doing is a good
No.
idea, a bad idea. I mean, I had no experience in this whatsoever. Apart, I had a lot of knowledge, from training courses, but no actual practical experience. So I stuck to the rules you gave.
Yep.
Almost religiously.
Yep.
Over time, though, it is true. The more you look at the markets, the more you get to say, yeah, I see, I've seen this sort of thing before. It's not, yeah, I get it. So you do build in your own little discretionary rules.
Yep.
And sometimes you build them in by accident.
Yep.
I mean, this is how literally I took everything at first. I mean, your initial video on, it's either the first chance entry or the third chance entry, where you're looking for a double top on the lower time frame. What you did was you took an ATR above the high, and the first spike up was the highest point of that particular double top. So I read that literally. Okay, you take the ATR of the first one,
right?
Not the high. So I was doing that for a while,
right.
but actually I found it worked. I've never had a single trade where that hasn't worked.
Oh, there you go.
So it worked out, but that was just completely by accident, taking what you did so literally that I was like, okay, you take the first one, and then after a while I read, oh no, it's just
the
that
highest
particular
one.
Example on there.
Yeah.
The first one was the high.
Yeah.
So sometimes you build in your own little rules that way, just by accident.
Absolutely, and Gabrielle just said it. That's the point. Make it yours. So with everything we teach, we teach the what makes the system. So we don't want you to just be solely reliant upon those rules. We want you to go, this is how it is. This is what it's made up of. This is the philosophy behind it. And with the trend continuation, for instance, you've got 3 chances at entering that trade. So it's like aggressive, conservative, and medium. And then you can go off and get all the filters that you need to make it yours, because it's only going to be profitable for you when you can develop your personality into it or build your personality into it. Otherwise, it just won't work. If you're trying to do something that goes against your being, every fibre of your being, it's going to be really, really difficult to overcome.
Gab's asking there, what's the expected down on one pair, the Euro USD, for just under 6 years? 16. Profit factor of 1.9. Total of 98 trades. Now, I don't know if that's good or bad. That's what I got.
Is that... Oh, is Gabrielle asking questions? Sorry, I'm missing the chat.
No, Gab just put in what's the expectancy. Okay. I'm just saying, just on one of the pairs here. I just opened the spreadsheet, Euro USD 16. The whole portfolio. I'll have to combine that into one spreadsheet.
So what are you working on now? Just crunching the numbers, or are you testing more?
Well, like I say, I'm live with this in demo account. More to get used to the actual practicalities of just having to be ready to place the trade when it comes. And I've been trying to, do a bit of fine tuning here and there, but then I've now got to a point where I think, okay, I have what I have, and I can sort of keep fine tuning this. One of the things I've always wanted to do is look at trailing stops, because again, in your tips and tricks on the video, you mentioned, you trail and you only need 2 or 3 good trails each year to make quite a large difference to your account. But I've reached a point now with trend continuation where I think, okay, I can put a bit more work into fine tuning this further, or I can move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
What's going to be more effective use of time now? Continually fine tuning this, or moving on to the next thing. And I think I've got what I've got with this, and the total expectancy there, Gab, for the whole portfolio would be 28. I've got what I've got with this. And like I say, I can fine tune it and get a few extra % here and there out of it, or I can move on to the next thing. So the next thing I've started with now is trying to spot Gartley patterns.
Right. So you're going into Gartley.
So, I'm starting again, just getting in the habit of spotting them. And I picked Gartley's simply because I thought, right, okay, patterns are a next logical thing to move on to, because I remember you saying this in the live room in the early days, one's a trending strategy and the other's a consolidation strategy. So when it's not trending, there'll be some patterns in there.
Yep.
And so I went back a few weeks ago into the videos that Jason Stapleton gave originally and the videos you've got in the platform. Just watched everything, and then something just clicked with the Gartley pattern, where I just watched and looked and thought, right, okay, if I look at that, what it actually is, it's a move, then a complex pullback with 618 retracements, and then back up. I've seen a lot of those, in particular on the British pound Aussie dollar.
Right.
So I've probably had a load of Gartleys, but because I wasn't looking for them, but I've had a lot of complex pullbacks like that.
Yeah.
There's probably quite a lot in there. Went to the Great British Pound Aussie dollar, turned on Enigma, and it was like, whoa, my God, it's like there's no white space left. It's just pattern. Okay, did the same for the Euro USD, and there was a bit more white space. They're not as frequent on there, so I thought, okay, that is a nice place to start. Not too many.
Yep.
And I'm going to start looking for Gartley patterns. So that's my next project.
Okay. Well, is it?
Looking for Gartleys, hopefully to add to this portfolio at some point. But for the moment, going live, I've got trend continuation.
Sure.
Until Gartleys are ready.
There's a lot to be said for chart time, isn't there? And discretion and just feeling getting to know the breathing patterns of the market. There's nothing quite like actually just being immersed in the charts and getting that chart time in. You do pick up some nuances.
I mean, when I first started with this, I had just info dump after info dump. I had a 15-hour intensive course from Jason Stapleton, then the platform where you launched with all sorts of courses from day one, plus the emergence that you've just done, live rooms every day. I mean, it was like information overload. I mean, honestly, I think it was probably by a month into it, so that's very end of February, beginning of March, I was just completely overwhelmed because I was watching all these videos with just too much information, and I just got to a point where I was like, okay, I'm just going to try and back test something, and that's where I picked trend continuation at first, and just started back testing. And at first, looking back, I was absolutely rubbish at it.
Yeah.
But I just really got better and better doing it again and again and again. And I remember on one of Gab's accountability where she said, as you're doing it, you go, oh crap, I've got to do it again, because now you realize that's the thing. That was my experience, because I was learning by actually looking at charts.
Yeah.
And I was, Gab said it's right. I was a massive headless chicken, because I just had so much information, and I had thought, well, I've surely got to let this information click and learn some of this before I put it into a plan. And actually, no, it's like pick something and practice it. I think of this like driving.
Yeah.
You can't learn to drive by reading a textbook.
No.
And you can't learn to drive by watching someone. You have to actually do it.
100%.
But the beauty of this, as opposed to driving, when you're driving, you can't just say, okay, I'll learn to steer and I'll do the pedals later. You have to do it all at once. At least here you can break it down and say, okay, I'll pick this one thing and I'm going to try this one thing until I get, confident with that, and so on and so on. So that's what I've been doing, breaking it down, which is an interesting point now, because I'm now at a point where I think, okay, got this one doing well with this, but there's still more to learn. Yeah, and I mean, even years down the road, you can still. You said at one point, what is it? There's something. Is it flags or something that you've just recently added
on the dollar
to your
yen?
portfolio?
Yeah.
So there's so that you're in this position where you've got successful strategies, and there's still more to learn, which is a great position to be in.
Totally.
You know,
Totally.
the only way is up. You can only grow what you're doing.
So where do you want to grow to? You know, what's the plan for the end of the year, for instance?
For the end of this year,
Yeah.
I will be going live soon.
Okay.
I don't want to say December, just in case
No.
it ends up being, first or second week in January or something like that. But the plan is I will be going live with a live account with the broker, soon. Like I say, I know this is accountability. It's supposed to be. I'm supposed to set a target and stick to it and all this, but I'll be going live soon, and hopefully next year, basically, I'll be doing trend continuation.
Yep.
On live, making whatever I make on that, whether it's an initial loss because I hit a drawdown straight away.
Yep.
Hopefully not, but or I'll just keep going and make whatever I make, and at the same time, the time I spent back testing that will be back testing first Gartleys, probably bats next, because
Okay.
a lot of the Gartleys I'm spotting are not Gartleys, they're bats. So I know there's a lot of bats in there.
Yep.
And I don't know what's there after that.
Okay, so what I'd love you to do, which I think would be really valuable, is once you do go live, count sort of 4 or 5 weeks, and then rebook another session. And I want you to come on and just be really, really honest. Just if you've lost money, you've lost money. If you've and I think that would be really, really valuable to see that, because if you've lost money, that will be valuable for people to see. If you're in a if you're going for a winning streak, that will give people value as well. And I'd love it if you could come on and just share that with us.
Yep, I will do. I mean, that'll be January, obviously.
Yeah, end of January, February, whenever. Yeah, that'd be really good.
Yeah, I will do.
All right, mate. Well, thanks for coming on, Andrew. Obviously, I'm meeting you next week. So, are you coming down from Newcastle? Are you?
We're coming down from Newcastle, coming down on the Friday by coach, because
Amazing.
coach was half the price of the train.
And Newcastle's about as far as Dubai, isn't it?
It's the last major city north before you hit the Scottish border.
I know.
It's as far as you can get without technically leaving the country.
Scotland, yeah, I've been there. I've been there a few times.
We're coming down by coach. By pure coincidence, the venue is very nearby to some friends of the family on my wife's side.
Oh, great.
So we're staying with them.
Not.
Yeah, well, they're always saying, "Oh, pop down, you can stay with us," and so it's worked out nice because and we even said initially we would book a hotel for the Saturday because we didn't know how late we'd be getting in, and they said no, we're always up till like 3 a.m, we'll come and pick you up. So
wow. So
yes,
good friends.
So I shall be catching up with everybody on the Saturday because I get in late on the Friday, and we're having dinner with Alan.
Excellent. Well,
I shall see everyone on the Saturday.
Yeah, it's going to be really good. I look forward to it, Andrew. Thanks for coming on, and you have a good weekend.
You too.
See you, mate. All right. Well, that was 2 really, really good sessions there. Really enjoyed those. Particularly, just how screwed on the heads of these people are who are coming through this platform blows me away. Because if you think about how much crap is out there, this industry is very, very difficult to cut through the noise. And you see the quality of our community compared to what's out there. It's just mind-blowing. Really, really is mind-blowing. And it's exactly what we set out to do. So we're very proud. I can't wait for next week so we can celebrate this with you guys and spend the evening hearing about your successes, your journey. I can't wait. But one thing I'm going to do this weekend, and I do this every year, is I'm going to sit down and I'm going to write down everything that I have achieved this year. So little wins, small ones, big wins, partnerships, relationships, social, self-development, and I'm going to write down every single thing that I've done this year, everything I've achieved this year. And I highly recommend that everyone has a pop at this. I do it just typically the first week in December every year. And when you read it back, because when we're on these journeys of self-development, most people in here are just going full bore, and they're going and they're going and they're going and they're chasing their goals, and you know they haven't really got milestones recorded. They're just going for it. When you actually exercise gratitude, and I mean spend the time just writing down everything you've done, everything you've learned, everyone, you know, any person you've met that's a new friend, all of that stuff, every achievement you've made, and write it all down on paper and then read it back. It really, really does have a huge impact on you. It really does make you appreciate where you are. It gives you encouragement and motivation to carry on and crack on next year and make it even bigger and better. And you sort of get this milestone stamped into you that is on paper. It's like it's real, and you can see how far you've come and what you've achieved. Highly recommend everyone has a go at it. I'll be doing it this week, so it'll be in next week's newsletter. Not this week's newsletter, next week's newsletter. All of mine will be published in that email, and I'm looking forward to doing it myself. So give that a crack, particularly if you're feeling a little bit deflated as well. So if you're just, I've got to go and start doing that, I don't feel like I'm getting anywhere, go and do that. Go and do that. Just even if it's just writing down what you've learned, even if it's like, even if it's just you took control of something that you felt a bit down on before. Like you might have just had some self-doubt over something, and now you've overcome that, and now you've got belief. You know, that's a massive thing to overcome. So the idea is that you write it all down and you celebrate everything on the list, because it's so often that it's so common that everyone's just focused on just negative news and negative crap, right? Forget that. Just celebrate the wins and the progress. The wins and the progress.
So I hope you guys enjoyed that episode. I know you did. I know you did, because you're listening to the very end. If you didn't, you would have cut it off earlier. But if you're interested in signing up for Jason Graystone's always free newsletter, which I highly recommend, I'm going to put a link for that underneath the video in the show notes of this podcast so you can get started right away. Trust me, it's a weekly dose of awesomeness. I like to read it each and every weekend just to kind of reset and get motivated for the week to come. And it covers a handful of topics. It's not trading. It's more about life and wealth creation and just finding happiness through financial stability. It's awesome. So sign up, and I'll see you guys with the next episode of the Trading Coach Podcast.